You're watching One-on-One Sports, hosted by Eric Kendall and Christian Binder, with resident experts Tom Waterman, Greg Brzezowski, and Alex Rosenbaum, Billy O'Riordan and Josh Norris, Robert Woner, and Michael Heil. Paulo de la Feld and Alex Sharon. Christine Williams and Aaron Moger. Welcome to One-on-One Sports.
Hello and welcome to another One-on-One Sports. I'm Christian Binder.
And I'm Eric Kendall. Neither Christian nor I heard our names called in this weekend's draft, so we're here and ready to go. Here are your starting five.
The NFL held its annual draft this past weekend, and as always, it was full of surprises, and many teams can be second-guessed. Eric, what was your take on this particular draft?
Well, I think the big storyline in this draft was the defensive line. There was a plethora of guys there, and I think it was a record for 12 guys taken in the first round, which is all I watched. I mean, I paid attention to a couple picks here and there. But the first round, the thing that was surprising, though, is the quarterbacks taking the first 14 picks.
Speaking of number 12, the Minnesota Vikings taking Christian Ponder there at the 12th spot. Nobody saw that one coming. This guy was not a first-round quarterback.
Yeah, it's hard to say that. It's really hard to say that for quarterbacks. It's pretty much what flavor of ice cream you like. You've heard that analogy, right? It's like
I have.
All these different people go to an ice cream shop, and everyone's probably going to pick a different flavor. The Vikings like Ponder. He may be the best pro-ready.
He might be the most pro-ready, but he's definitely not the best. I mean, I don't really like any of the quarterbacks in this class, but Cam Newton especially going number one, it's a huge risk. And
no, it's a big risk.
It's a big risk, big reward kind of situation. So we'll have to see on that one. But, what about the Falcons jumping up, giving away five
they gave
picks
up a lot
to go up and grab Julio Jones when they already have Roddy White? I mean, I know you don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on your rookies, but does this in a way kind of put a lot more pressure on Julio Jones?
I don't know.
They traded away 5 picks to get him.
I mean, if there's any position that's going to translate seamlessly in the NFL, it's wide receiver. Because you see those guys do it year in, year out. The rookies have an impact.
Yep.
So the Falcons think they're right on the doorstep with putting Jones in next to Roddy White. That's another
they're
theme
gonna
of
have
this
a ridiculous
draft.
Receiving core.
That's another theme of this draft. A strength of your team, you go and get more of a strength. You look at the Buccaneers getting Daquan Bowers.
And Adrian Claiborne.
And the same thing with Detroit, getting another defensive tackle and next to Ndamukong Suh. They're doubling up.
Yeah.
With the decision now in, Cleveland's Peyton Hillis is set to be the cover boy of the Madden 2012 video game. Christian, what's your reaction to Peyton Hillis being the Madden guy?
Hey, you know me, Eric. I love the underdog story, and this is another underdog story. Peyton Hillis versus Michael Vick. I am so glad that Hillis won, just because Michael Vick's already been on a cover. It was a great story, and everybody would have been happy if Michael Vick was on the cover of Madden.
Sure.
But Eagles fans can rest assured, because the last time he was on the cover of Madden, he broke his leg. And now they can just know he's not there.
No, but you understand why I'm chuckling a little bit, that this is a story of who's going to be on the cover of a video game.
It's a big deal to a lot of people.
No, sure, it's a big deal to some people. I don't think it deserves this sort of attention. I mean, good for EA Sports that they got this sort of media blitz on it.
That was sweet.
It was against Vick and Hillis. I was a little disappointed that it turned into a little bit of a race thing. People saying, hey, it's just
Hillis. If
Hillis
anybody said that,
white.
that's completely ridiculous. Major League Baseball has decided to assume everyday control of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Eric, what do you think of this decision?
Well, it had to be done, obviously. I mean, Major League Baseball wouldn't do this unless something had to be done.
Yeah,
and it's been done before.
Just last year. Last year, the Major League Baseball took control of the Texas Rangers, and they went to a World Series. So if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm liking it, especially since as soon as Major League Baseball took over, they went on a big win streak. Not to mention the fact that Andre Ethier's on a 28-game hit streak.
Now, it seems to be a sign of the bad times in economy, these people that are up top. And I know that's not the Dodgers thing, but you see it with the New Orleans Hornets. You see a lot of teams that are in financial trouble.
Recently.
And, it's something that has to be done by these leagues to keep these teams alive, but I think we'll see some more movement as far as teams going other places. Yeah. But you can't take the Dodgers out of
have
LA.
To stay in LA.
They have to stay in LA. I completely agree. Recently, Bud Selig stated that he plans to expand the Major League Baseball playoffs for the 2012 season. Christian, I don't know if you're familiar with the terms of this expansion, but what do you think?
It is awful. They're thinking about adding another wild card team in both leagues.
Define awful. What would be so awful about it?
I love baseball. That's my sport. Yeah. And it's long. I mean, I will admit that it is long.
Sure, but that's what you like about it.
Yeah, it's a taxing season, but to add another series of playoffs to the playoffs already take over a month. Yeah. And they're going to add another week. I mean, if this is a 5-game series, you got to figure it's going to be at least a week. Yeah. Because of off days.
I mean, we know why these deals are made and why these plans are in place to make more money. We've seen it over and over. That's why the NFL wants 18 games. Yeah. That's for all these things, to make more money. But for baseball, it's different. With such a tradition in the sport of saying the wild card is even a stretch to put the wild card in there. When they did that, to put another one in, I think would be going against a lot of what baseball stands for. I think
the majority of fans would actually be against this rather than for it.
Agreed. I don't think it'll happen.
In a situation that I know is near and dear to Eric's heart, the allegations surrounding the Ohio State football program and head coach Jim Tressel continue to mount. Eric, how's this going to shake out for your Buckeyes?
Well, I don't know how it'll shake out. Well, obviously, no. Here's my stance on Tressel, and Tressel's my guy.
It's the best.
I really like Jim Tressel. I think he's a great person to have at the front of your program. I think what he did was in the best interest of his players, but with the rules that are in place, he deserves any suspension they want to dish out because he lied. Yeah. And he covered up lies, and he continued to lie, and that is something you have to be held responsible for. Yeah. He didn't do anything criminal.
No, he did not. Yes. But the thing is, Ohio State has to look at this objectively now and say, what do we care more about? Do we care about the reputation of our school, or do we care more about the reputation of our football program? Yeah. And they really seriously have to weigh the two, because no matter what.
Well, largely the reputation of the school is the football program. Right. You realize it's not that cut and dry.
Right. So if they decide to not fire Jim Tressel and it looks bad, then you could seriously see them start to lose. I mean, I know a lot of people won't really care about that. Yeah. But it's got to weigh a little bit.
Well, my prediction, Tressel won't get fired, but Luke Fickell is a young, hot prospect as a coach, and he's going to be the interim. That may stir up some people in Columbus. Time for us to take our first break, but when we return, Christian will be joined by our NFL resident experts to discuss what teams won and lost in this year's draft.